Well, hi, Kairos family. I am sitting here with my friend, Mr. Steve Godey. Say hi, Steve.
Hey, everybody.
You won't hear from him for another minute or so. We are here to talk about generosity as we come to our financial year close, which will be the end of this month. And so before I hand it over to Steve, which I know he is chomping at the bit to share some thoughts that have significantly been running through his mind and his heart, and so I'm looking forward to hear what he has to say. But to give you a little bit of financial context, I want to just give you 4 basic numbers that will help us better understand where we are to date as a church. And you should also be able to see these numbers on the screen. Our budget and anticipated expenses for the whole year is $756,500. And our total expenses through May to date have been $694,000. And our income and giving through May is $688,000, which leaves us lagging just by a little of $6,000. So give you those numbers for some financial context. They are also in your weekly email as we update those from month to month, so you can always have access to those numbers. So I want to throw out one more number, and if you do some simple math, for us to reach our budget and anticipated expenses for the entire fiscal year, that leaves us for the month of June needing to bring in and receive $68,500. And so I want to invite you to do 2 things. The first is this: would you consider joining the pastoral staff and the leadership team in praying for that target goal, that we would reach that target goal and maybe even exceed it, so we can continue to be the church and express God's work in the world. And the second ask would be this: might you consider making a financial gift in June so that we together as a church community can meet and even exceed that goal. And so before I turn it over to Steve here in a moment, I just would be remiss if I didn't stop and simply say thank you to those in the Kairos community who give faithfully, who give generously, who give regularly. We are so appreciative of you. In a moment here, you will hear from Steve as he shares as a member of our church what he sees our church doing with our financial resources, with our resources of time. And so without further ado, I want to welcome Steve into the conversation. Yeah. Steve, you just heard me give 4 or 5 numbers, and I know, because I've had conversations with you in the past, that numbers do not inspire you, but they are real, and they speak to where we are at. And so as you hear those numbers, and I know there's a lot going on in your mind and heart that you'd like to share, I just want to hand it over to you and just ask you, what are you thinking?
Yeah. So before I talk about that, I'm looking out right now, and we're filming this obviously sitting up on stage, and the church is empty. I mean, there's nobody sitting in the pews right now, and that's the way it's been since mid-March, right?
Yeah.
And which means every Sunday, as much as Joe likes to do it, he comes in here by himself and he passes around a basket to no one, and no dollars get put in it. And the reality is, giving's gone down, has it not?
It has gone down, yes.
Giving has gone down. And so as giving has gone down, as these doors have been closed, and the reality is we haven't needed to have child care workers here because we haven't had kids here. Even though that people haven't been walking in these doors utilizing that, we've paid every single one of them, haven't we?
Every child care worker has received their compensation every week of this season of shutdown.
And we've continued to support all of our ministries. We've been continuing to do everything that when we built this budget and we committed to everyone that this is how we were going to take care of you, we didn't know that COVID was coming. We didn't know that social unrest was coming. We didn't know that these doors were going to close. And we have held to every single one of our commitments that we made at the start of the year. Isn't that right?
100%, yeah.
So I think what's really important to know and to understand is that we as a church, we as a Kairos community, through all of this time of scarcity, this time of fear, this time of unrest, that that we've lived in a place of faithfulness, and even in that scarcity, we have continued to support everyone that relies upon us, and done it without wavering. And I think that is just such an amazing thing. And so, when we see this number, and I'm going to come back to that number, that's $68,000, $68,000 that we're short on for the full year budget. I am not, even though I do a lot with numbers, I'm not a numbers guy, because numbers don't mean anything. What they mean, though, is the things that they go and do. And when you see that $68,000, don't see a new Porsche in Joe's garage. What it means is that we're doing things in Clarkston, and that we are making lunches. It means that we are taking care of our child care workers. It means that we are paying people's salaries. It means that we are doing the things that we are committed to doing as a community, which is building up our community. It is going out and taking care of new families that come in. It is taking care of families that get sick. It is taking care of people who need support from Joe, that need support from Miriam, that need support from our community. It also means reaching out into the broader community. And even though these doors are closed, metaphorically, they have been wide open for the last several months. And so Joe quotes the number $68,000. I think that, frankly, we can beat it. And I know that that's kind of a bold statement, given that there are people that are out of work right now. There are people that are fearful of their jobs. Maybe that you've been furloughed. Maybe you're one of them, and I get that. And I don't minimize that in the least. There is real pain. There is real suffering. But I also believe that there is a lot of faithful giving. And I also believe that we can not only hit this budget, but I think that we can beat that budget. And so if you haven't given in a while, I'm asking you to give. If you already give, I'm asking you to give more. And I know that's not a comfortable thing for a lot of people to ask or to say, especially at a time like this, but I'm asking for it. And I think that we can do it. So that's all I got. It's all you, Joe.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Steve. And just practically speaking, if it's now or as you may think on it, pray about it, talk about giving with your family, there are just the practicals to give you that if you were to go to our website, kairosatlanta.org/give to get you directly to the site, it lists the 4 primary ways that you can make a financial contribution, whether that is the address for mailing in a check, a way to give an online gift, the opportunity to text in, and also we have a handful of people who also give gifts through stock transfers. So we will receive it in any way that you send it, and so just wanted to make that clear to you and available about the ways of how to give. And so to close and just simply to reaffirm, we want to ask you to join us in this time of prayer over the next couple of weeks. That we have that goal of $68,500, which Steve has said, pointing the arrows even beyond that. We will look to whatever we receive, and we will point to God's faithfulness, and then we will look to see how God will use that. So join us in prayer, and then the second thing would be to consider how you might also be a part of what we're doing here as a church, and that you would consider making a pledge, a financial gift, so that we can close out our financial year strong, and then look to the rest of the summer and the new fiscal year and all the ministry that those dollars represent. And so, as I did earlier, again, on behalf of the staff, on behalf of our church community, for all of us who experience and all of us who reap the benefits of your generosity, we are grateful to you, and we just want to simply again say thank you. Thank you for being a ministry partner here at Kairos, and thank you for trusting us to allow God to use us to make His kingdom known here on earth. So again, thank you. And thank you, Steve.
My pleasure.
All right.